Hi guys, welcome to my channel KP Financial and Strategy Review. Myself Praween Kumar. In today's video, we'll discuss about one of the most important component, that is internal controls, and I will explain you in short summary about what do you mean by internal controls and why it is important. What are the goals and objectives we can achieve with these effective and strong internal controls, and if there is no strong and effective internal controls, what are the problems and the risk and the challenges an entity may face. We'll discuss in short summary with applicable framework. See, before going further, I will explain you the meaning and definition of internal controls. These internal controls are based upon certain framework that is called as a COSO framework. This COSO framework is nothing but in US, in the United States, there is a committee called as a COSO committee. That is nothing but committee of sponsoring organizations, and this committee has developed certain framework, and this framework is nothing but internal controls framework. And under this framework, there are 17 principles and categorized into 5 broad categories, 5 components, and as long as an entity applied and followed and monitored and controlled these 17 principles and 5 components in entity, which provides a very reasonable assurance that entity's goals and objectives will be achieved. And here we need to understand one key component. It provides only a reasonable assurance, doesn't provide a absolute assurance. And if you follow that 5 components and 17 principles in entity, so it provides a reasonable assurance that entity's goals and objectives will be achieved. And what goals and objectives? Prima facie, they have segregated entire goals and objectives of an entity into 4 categories, and those four categories of goals and objectives will be achieved as long as you comply with that 17 principles and 5 components. And it provides only a reasonable assurance, not an absolute assurance. And what are those goals and objectives? Number 1, it ensures that there is an accurate and reliable financial accounting and reporting. Number 2, it provides an entity reasonable assurance that entity is complying with applicable laws, rules and regulations. And number 3, it provides a reasonable assurance that entities there is an effectiveness and efficiency in the business operations and the decision making. Number 4, it will detect errors and frauds in the early stages before it has been occurred, or there is a prevention and detection mechanism, and the risk related to frauds and errors will be controlled or minimized, detected and prevented accordingly at early stages. So if you see the entire objectives of an entity, that will be their operational objectives or managerial objectives or strategic objectives, high level objectives. As a whole they have drilled down into 4 components: accurate and reliable financial reporting, compliance with applicable laws and rules and regulations, and effectiveness and efficiency of business operations, and frauds and errors detection and prevention. So in order to achieve these 4 objectives reasonably, these are the 17 principles and 4 components which has to be designed and implemented by the entity management. And what are those 4 components? Here we have given the mnemonic as a crime. Crime is not the crime which you see in the general layman's language. Here crime means there is a definition for this mnemonic. C for control, environment and activities testing. R is risk assessment of the management. I is nothing but information and communication system. M is monitoring and observation systems. So by designing and implementing these 4 components, by introducing 17 principles in entity, prima facie this framework provides a reasonable assurance that entity will achieve its objectives, goals and objectives into these 4 categories. Hope this is very clear. Stay tuned. In the next video I will be explaining you what is the role of an auditor with regarding to these internal controls, and whenever there is an audit, what is the role of an auditor and how they will test these internal controls. See, prima facie designing, implementing, monitoring, observation, each and everything, reporting everything, it is the responsibility of the management, not an auditor. Auditor roles and responsibilities only to test those internal controls, whether there is effectiveness and efficiency or not. They will test that. Why? Because is substantive procedures and as well as audit procedures will be deciding upon the result of this internal controls only. So thank you very much. Stay tuned. I will be posting series of videos very shortly.